For today's lesson, we will be discussing about the midpoint formula. So aside from getting the distance between any 2 points, we can also get the midpoint between any 2 points, and we will be using the midpoint formula. So if again there are 2 points which are A and B with coordinates x sub 1 and y sub 1, x sub 2 and y sub 2, and they are any 2 points on the coordinate plane, then the midpoint M of the segment AB has the coordinates x sub 1 plus x sub 2 over 2, and then for y, it's y sub 1 plus y sub 2 over 2. So we will be just adding the x coordinates, dividing it by 2 to get the x coordinate of the midpoint, and add the y coordinates of the 2 points and divide it also by 2 to get the y coordinate of the midpoint. So for example, we need to find the coordinates of the midpoint of segment IQ. For I, we have the coordinates negative 8, 0, and Q, 16, negative 24. So what are we going to do is we have to use the midpoint formula. So that is x sub 1 plus x sub 2, then dividing it by 2 for us to get the x coordinate of the midpoint, then y sub 1 plus y sub 2 divided by 2 to get the y coordinate of the midpoint. So what we will do now is substitute. So I will be my first point and Q is the second point. So that means x sub 1 is negative 8 and my x sub 2 is 16. Then divided by 2. For y, my y sub 1 is 0 and my y sub 2 is negative 24. Then again, divided by 2. Then all you have to do now is to simplify. So negative 8 plus 16, that is positive 8 divided by 2. Then 0 plus negative 24 is negative 24, then divide by 2. Now finally, you just have to simplify this. Therefore, the coordinates of the midpoint of segment IQ is 4, negative 12. So this is now the coordinates of the midpoint of segment IQ. Next is, let's say segment AP has midpoint H, which is 2, negative 6, and one endpoint is given, which is A, and that is negative 4, 7. Now we need to find the coordinates of P, which is the other endpoint of segment AP. So what we have here is the one of the endpoints, which is point A. We also have the midpoint, which is H. So we will be using again the midpoint formula, and let's try to write it like this. So we know that we can get the midpoint by adding x sub 1 and x sub 2, and then divide by 2. That is for the x coordinate. Then for the y, y sub 1 plus y sub 2 divided by 2. Now since the midpoint of the segment is given, which is 2, negative 6, then we can say that this is equal to the midpoint, which is 2, negative 6. Now, as what we know, 2 is for the x coordinate and y is negative 6. So that means if we add x sub 1 plus x sub 2, then divide it by 2, we will get 2. And if we add y sub 1 plus y sub 2 divided it by 2, we will get negative 6. So what we can do here is we can write them separately. So let's write x first. So x sub 1 plus x sub 2 over 2. Then this is again equal to 2, since 2 is the x coordinate of the midpoint. Whereas we can write y sub 1 plus y sub 2 divided by 2. And this one now is equal to negative 6, since negative 6 is the y coordinate of the midpoint. Now, since we have here one of the endpoints, which is A, we can say that this one is the first point and assign negative 4 as x sub 1 and 7 as our y sub 1. So what we will do here is we will just substitute x sub 1 and y sub 1 to these two formula. So again, x sub 1 now is our negative 4. So plus x sub 2 equals 2. Then this one is divided by 2. And then y sub 1 is now 7. 2 equals negative 6. So what we will do now here is just simplify everything so that we can find the second point, which is for the x sub 2 and y sub 2. So just multiply this both sides by 2. So we will have this is cancelled, then negative 4 plus x sub 2 equals 4. Then if we move negative 4 on the other side, it's 4 plus 4. Therefore, x sub 2 is equal to 8. So we now have the x sub 2, which is the x-coordinate of P. Then for the other side, still multiply both sides by 2, cancel. So you have 7 plus y sub 2 equals negative 12. Then y sub 2 equals negative 12 minus 7. Therefore, y sub 2 is equal to negative 19. So this will be the coordinates of the second point. So we can now say that the coordinates of P is now 8 for x, and then for y it's negative 19. So that's it for today. I hope you learned something about finding the midpoints of a given segment, and see you next time.